All right, what's up, folks? Lynn Ray here. Today is July 30th, 2021. And I wanted to do a quick little follow-up video following the video from this morning, the rainy day 10K run. And it is about something that I mentioned during the video. Now, during the video, I mentioned how I have lost 20 pounds in roughly 5 or 6 weeks. And I want to talk about how I did that. Now, I'm doing this because, me just saying, hey, I lost 20 pounds in 5 weeks, that's great, but that's not actionable. That doesn't help anyone. So I'm going to talk about how I've done it. And I'll give you a few actionable steps and some mental things that needed to take place in order to do that. Now, all right, so number one, and I would say this is probably the number one thing that needs to happen, is you need to have a why. You need to have a reason that you want to do this. You have to have a reason you want to lose 20 pounds. My air conditioner just came on again. So you have to have a reason why. You have to have a why. If you do not have a why, you will fail. You will fail. It's just plain and simple. That's how it is. In everything we do, if you don't have a reason for doing it, you will fail. If someone says, hey, here's $200,000. I want you to go to college for 4 years. But you don't want to go to college. You don't want to have a college education. You don't want to do this. You just don't have a reason. Just because you have money, that's not really a reason why, right? You're not going to do well. You're essentially going to fail, right? That's generally what's going to happen. So you have to have a reason why. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose 100 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever the case may be, wherever you are at. I want to do that for X, Y, and Z because I want to be healthy, because I want to decrease my risk of diabetes. I want to decrease my joint pains, which was one of my reasons. I want to show my children that it is possible to do something hard, which is one of the reasons I do what I do, right? So you have to have a reason why. If you don't have a reason why, almost guaranteed failure. Number two, discipline. You have to have discipline. Once you have your why, you have to mentally be in a space to where you are disciplined, where you know that you have to accomplish this task no matter what. I was going to give a little story, but I won't do that right now. So you have to have discipline. That's number two. So number one, have a reason why. That's probably that. I think that's the most important. And number two, you have to exercise discipline. Number three. So this is where the actionable steps come in at. All right, and this is nothing groundbreaking. This is nothing crazy like that. This is just basic stuff that I use in order to help myself lose 20 pounds in about 5 weeks. Right, and number one is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting. That's IF if you've heard about it before. If not, I'll go ahead and give you a really brief description of it. So intermittent fasting is just what it sounds like. It's essentially intermittently fasting throughout the day, the week, the month, the year, right? That is intermittent fasting. I intermittent fasting throughout the day. So I choose to do an 8-hour fasting window, which means that I only eat within an 8-hour period. And that 8-hour period is 12 o'clock noon, right? My breakfast is actually at noon every single day. Well, most days of the week. It is at 12 o'clock noon, and I eat from 12 o'clock. Let me rephrase that. I don't eat from 12 o'clock till 8 o'clock. I eat my 2 meals, sometimes 2.5 meals, one at 12 o'clock and the other one probably around 5 to 8 o'clock. So I usually eat 2 meals a day. Sometimes I have a snack or ice cream. Tonight I'm having ice cream. It is Friday, and that's how it is, right? So you have an 8-hour window. Some people choose to have a 4-hour window. Some people choose to have a 1-hour or 2-hour window. That's a lot of calories to consume in 1 or 2 hours, so I choose not to do that. I've tried it before, and it was not pleasant. It is actually very painful to fit in 2 or 3,000 calories, depending on my workload, in an hour or two. So you choose whatever works for you. Most people, I would say, probably choose an 8-hour window. So that's what I do. 8 hours seems to work well. It's a sufficient enough time to eat 2 meals and not feel like I'm just bloated and just, just feeling pretty bad and uncomfortable. Now, common misconception with intermittent fasting is people seem to think that if you're intermittent fasting, you can eat whatever you want. That is not the case. Intermittent fasting, if you are eating whatever you want during that 8-hour window or 4-hour or 1 hour, whatever window you choose to do, you are going to gain weight. That's just how it is, right? You have to eat the proper portions. So I won't get into all the science of intermittent fasting. There's plenty PhDs, and there's actually documentaries on intermittent fasting. You can do that on your own, but choose your little window, right? And keep the portion sizes normal, right? What's normal? That depends on the person, right? If you are a bulking bodybuilder, that will be different than what a 60-year-old grandma is going to do, right? Or a 15-year-old football player is going to do, right? Well, they may actually be the same, but pretty close, pretty similar. So they're going to be different. Everyone's different, right? But use your best judgment, right? A reasonable sized portion meal is not a bucket of ice cream. A reasonable sized meal is not 3 hamburgers. It's not even 2 hamburgers, honestly. It's probably 1 hamburger. If you eat hamburgers, I don't eat hamburgers, but if you eat hamburgers, 1 hamburger is it. And 1 hamburger might actually be too much. But reasonable sized meal. Now, what is a reasonable sized meal for me? A reasonable sized meal for me is a relatively decent portion size, but not too big, not too small. It's essentially a portion size that does not have me feeling uncomfortable when I finish. I don't want to feel groggy. I don't want to feel like I have a stomach ache. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to feel bloated. I want to have a reasonable meal, portion size that I feel satisfied, right? And that's it. Satisfied, nothing more. I don't want to feel like I need to eat more, or I didn't eat enough, or I need to, whatever, right? Needs to be a relatively decent sized meal. Use your best judgment, right? You can do your Google searches and stuff like that, right? Your meat portion size should be like the size of your fist, right? It shouldn't be, even though I'm guilty of it, I absolutely I love steaks, and so I'm guilty of eating 2-pound steaks and 2.5-pound prime ribs and things like that. But that is way too much food. I don't do that often. Maybe once a year I eat something like that, right? I try to keep my portion sizes relatively decent. All right, that's enough of that. All right, so that was intermittent fasting. Number 2 and number 3. These are kind of related, but I'm going to go with number 2. So number 2, work out every single day. Every single day. Now, every single day does not mean it does not mean that you have to be working out at a level 10, rate of perceived exertion, level 15 or 20, right? It doesn't have to be that, right? Right now, I run 5 days a week, and I actually do yoga probably 6 days a week. And sometimes the yoga sessions last 15 minutes, sometimes they last 45 minutes, sometimes they last an hour. Just depends on the day, right? So I always I always do yoga most days, right? But on those 2 off days, I still do a workout, and it may actually be yoga, right? As of just yesterday, I have incorporated weight training into my 2 rest days. So I run 5 days a week, exercise, aka resistance training, dumbbells, push-ups, sit-ups, things like that, 2 days a week, right? Right? Vary the intensity, right? A lot of people get caught up in the whole overtraining. You can't work out 7 days a week. You can work out 7 days a week, right? You just have to be smart about it. You have to vary the intensity so that you're not overstressing the joints, the muscle, things like that. Most people don't overtrain. It's true. Most people don't overtrain. Anyway, let's not talk about that. you got to train first, right? Train before you can overtrain. You can't overtrain if you're not training at all, right? So go ahead and get busy, get started, do something. All right. Number 3, and the last one, make a schedule. Now, I want to throw a little caveat. You know, don't get caught up in the analysis paralysis. I do that. I'm a avid, I love to research things that I'm interested in. I love to research intermittent fasting, running, working out, motorcycles. Like I absolutely want, you know, I don't have any motorcycles anymore, but I used to have a couple. And I was always reading on what's the best parts, what's this part, what are the pros and cons of these two parts that do the exact same thing, that are made probably in the same factory, but sold by 2 different companies, right? That was always the case. I'm definitely a avid researcher in things that I'm interested in. So don't get caught up in that. Just do something. This is going back to workout every day. Do something. If your goal is to do a 5K, right? Start off with walking. Walk every single day. And when you're walking, right, when you're finished with your walk, do your little stretching, you know, your cool down, all that good stuff. And when you're on your off time, you know, do a little research, right? And find something that might work for you. And then you can tweak your schedule as you go. Now, I've been working out now for running now for about 5 or 6 weeks. And my training schedule has probably changed at least 7 or 8 times. Actually, this little board here that I showed you all this morning, that was not the workout program that I was doing 4 days ago. I actually changed my entire workout program 4 days ago. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. The entire workout program, and it's not the same thing. Nowhere near. I now have a I already had a 26-week program, and now I have a brand new 26-week program that I have printed out. And guess what? If I'm feeling iffy about this program in a couple weeks or even tomorrow, I'm going to change it, right? So start something. You can change your workouts as you go, but always start. Just start doing something. 5-minute run, 10-minute run, 5 minutes of sit-ups, 30 seconds of sit-ups, whatever the case may be. Do something, and as the days go by, you can tweak things, right? It's okay to tweak things. It doesn't have to be perfect first day, right? Just start and change things as time goes by. And that's it. That's it. Those few things. Having your why, having some discipline, intermittent fasting, working out every single day, and having a schedule that is flexible, right? It can change, right? Be willing to move your schedule around, and that's pretty much it. Lose 20 pounds in 5 weeks. That's how I did it. Nothing freaking spectacular, nothing freaking groundbreaking. That's all I got. So talk to you guys later. Peace.